Have you ever found yourself eyeing your opponent's king, sensing an attack, but unsure how to break through? Or perhaps you have felt a shiver of dread as your own monarch started to look exposed. Weak squares near the king are dangerous because they are vulnerable entry points for enemy pieces, creating immediate threats and often leading to decisive attacks. These squares often lack pawn protection and can be occupied by attackers without being easily challenged. The danger stems from the fundamental principle of king safety, which relies heavily on a solid pawn shield. When pawns in front of the king move, they leave behind permanent weaknesses. These are squares that can no longer be protected by pawns. Think of the f7 square for black or f2 for white after castling. Once the defending pawns advance or are captured, they create holes or weak squares. Enemy pieces, particularly knights and bishops, thrive on these squares because they cannot be dislodged by a pawn. This creates a critical outpost for an attack. Additionally, these weak squares often become targets for open lines, allowing rooks and queens to join the assault, setting up devastating checks and mating patterns. To make these insights practical, it is important to first identify these vulnerable squares. As an attacker, look for squares near your opponent's king that your pieces can occupy without being easily exchanged. These are perfect outposts for your knights and bishops. As a defender, be extremely careful with pawn moves around your king. Avoid creating holes unnecessarily. If a weak square already exists, try to defend it with another piece, even if it ties up your resources. Opening lines towards these squares with rook lifts or queen maneuvers is a common strategy to maximize their impact. A classic example of exploiting these areas is when a knight lands on a weak square such as f6 or g5 for white, or f3 or g4 for black, directly attacking the king and other pieces. This is often the foundation of a royal fork, a devastating tactic that wins material. Another subtle aspect is the concept of a king hunt, where a series of checks and forcing moves drive the king out into the open, often across these weak squares, until it can no longer escape the attack. Understanding these patterns elevates your play from simply attacking to orchestrating a precise, unavoidable assault. Ultimately, understanding why weak squares near the king are dangerous provides a powerful tool for both offense and defense. By recognizing and creating these vulnerabilities, you can transform seemingly quiet positions into dynamic attacks or solidify your own king's position, leading to a much deeper and more effective strategic understanding of the game. This knowledge allows you to control the flow of the game, setting the stage for decisive victories.